Now let's solve two lowercase on LeetCode. In this problem, we're given a string s, and we need to return the string after replacing every uppercase letter with the same lowercase letter. So any uppercase letter, we need to turn it into a lowercase letter. As you can see in these examples, if we have all capital letters, then we turn it into an all lowercase letters. So I'm gonna solve this problem in three different ways. The first one is, conveniently for us, Java provides us with a method that does exactly that, turns the string into a lowercase, and all we need to do is return s dot to lowercase, and we can submit. Yep, there we go. But that's pretty lame. So let's go through the other two ways of how to solve it. The first way we're going to solve this is we're going to create a map that stores character to character. Our key is going to be our uppercase character, and our value is going to be lowercase character. And then we're going to loop through our string, and every time we have an uppercase character, we're going to fetch the value of that key and basically replace it with the uppercase character in the original string. So first things first, we need to create a map. So map of character, this is our uppercase character, to character. Our lowercase character is equal to new hash map. And now I'm going to use the power of editing to skip through the tedious part. Alright, so there's our map with all the key value pairs. Don't forget to include your single quotations for characters. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new string called sn for snew, which is equal to just empty quotations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be building this string from our original string like this. For int I equals to 0 as long as I is less than s dot length I plus plus. We're going to loop through our string s, and if the letter we're on is found within our map, then this is what we're going to do. So if map dot contains the key of s dot character at I, which is the character we're on, then to our string sn, we're going to add to it map dot get the value of s dot character at I. Otherwise, if the character which we're on is not uppercase, we just need to do sn plus equals the character which we're currently on. And then finally, after we leave the for loop, we need to return sn. So we created an empty string sn, and we're going to loop through the characters in our string s. If our map contains the key of the character which we're currently on, so for example in the first iteration h, it does uppercase h is right here, then to sn add the value of that key, which is lowercase h. And then in the second iteration at e, our map does not contain the key lowercase e, so we're going to skip this if statement and move to the else statement, where we just add the e as is. And we keep doing this until our string is completed and we return sn. So let's submit our code. I forgot to name our map, so there we go. Let's submit again, and there we go. Now the problem with this method is that filling up the map is quite tedious. So we're gonna look at the final method, which does not use a map and instead uses ASCII values. So like I said, the final way we're gonna solve this is by using ASCII values. What ASCII values are basically each character, whether it's a letter, a symbol, has its own numerical equivalent or representation. And we're going to be using that instead of mapping all the characters into their equivalent lowercase letter. And so in ASCII, the letter capital A, for example, has an ASCII value of 65, and Z has a value, or capital Z rather, has a value of 90. Now lowercase letters have their own ASCII values as well, and they're basically equal to whatever the ASCII value of their capital letter is, plus 32. So once again, we're going to create a string called sn for the new string, which is going to be empty initially, and then we're going to loop through our string s. So for an int I equal to 0 as long as I is less than s dot length I plus plus. We're going to store the current character which we're on in a character variable called n, which is equal to s dot character at I. Now, if L is greater than or equal to A, and L is less than or equal to Z, in other words, if L falls between the range of capital A to capital Z, so L could be A, B, C, D, all the way up to Z, lowercase letters excluded, and of course we cannot forget our single quotations, then we're going to update our value for L to be equal to L plus 32. Now what we need to do here is typecast it. So in other words, add this little statement here. Now what this does is, since L is a character, when we do L plus 32, Java will automatically convert L into an integer, so it's ASCII equivalent, in order to add it to a 32. And once this is done, we're going to have a integer value, right? We're going to have a number. So what we need to do is we need to typecast it back into character. So we're basically converting this integer into its character equivalent. Now, after we do that, we might enter this if block and we might not, depending on if L is a lowercase or uppercase letter. But regardless, what we need to do is to Sn, we just need to add L. And then finally, just return Sn. So let's submit again, and there we go. So that was the to lowercase problem on LeetCode. So yeah, I hope you found that video helpful, and thanks for watching.